Boruto, buddy, I know you're the protagonist, but there's fighting against impossible odds, and then there's whatever this disaster speed run you're on currently is. Because let's be real for a second, Boruto Uzumaki might be the main character, might have main character energy, but he just walked into arguably the worst possible fight in the worst possible location at the worst possible time while carrying the worst possible emotional baggage. This is not just a battle, this is a stress test from the universe itself. Join me for today's newest Naruto Explained video where we're breaking down exactly why Boruto might be massively overextending himself in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 28 and beyond, and why the deck it is stacked against him in ways that a surprising number of fans I don't think are truly realizing it. This fight isn't just a high-level brawl, it is layered in terms of being a pressure cooker of psychology, strategy, location, timing, karma seal usage, timeline consequences, and most importantly, moral restraints, and they're all converging all at once. So let's get right into why Boruto is on the brink of potentially cracking under the load that not even Naruto at his lowest could have ever hoped to carry, and why this fight may be the turning point where Boruto finally learns the lesson that Itachi drilled into Naruto's skull back during the war. Also, by the time you guys are seeing this, the chapter review should be up on the channel, so check it out if you haven't already. The review editor put his heart and his soul into the edit, and it is longer than normal, so make sure to check that out. Hit the hype button because it really helps, and share the video, which also helps a lot. And it will be linked in the description box and in the end credits for those of you guys who have not seen the review just yet. So getting right into it, Boruto fighting Mamushi several days earlier than expected. Yeah, that's a big deal. So one thing I do see just from reading comments is that people are drastically downplaying that Boruto and company plan for this fight to happen days from now, several days from now. That preparation time schedule, that's gone. That reconnaissance time that you had set up, that's gone. The idea of controlling the pacing and having your own strategy fully deployed, basically controlling all the options, that's gone. Suddenly, boom, he's out there fighting Mamushi on a random Tuesday when he thought he'd see him on Friday. Those plans for Boruto to finally get his hands on one of them nasty lemon thunder burgers, that's been eaten up. This means no optimal setup, no final prep for his new technique to be trained with and accustomed with, no time to finish mentally stabilizing any type of strategies, no opportunity to fully coordinate evacuations for citizens. Now they got to do it right there on the fly like we saw in this chapter. No chance for him to fully map out his flying Raijin anchor points. We know that he's got markers in certain places, but all the more prep time you could have gotten, that's basically flushed down the drain. Boruto right now, he's caught flat-footed. He's forced into a boss fight when he was still kind of low-key in tutorial mode, especially given he's got a new sword and he's also got the karma seal used in battle for the first time in 3 years. That alone, that's pretty bad. Again, if you're a video game player, you get the comparison. But that's just the first layer here. Again, this is multi-layered. Boruto is fighting in the worst possible location. He's battling inside of Konoha surrounded by civilians. Every other high-tier fight that we've had, most of them have taken place outside the village where characters are able to fully let loose, either it be in a forest or a valley or a deserted battlefield or in a whole other dimension. The ideal fighting place was somewhere that wasn't packed with random civilians out there buying groceries. Boruto doesn't get the benefit of any of that. He's fighting near homes, he's fighting near shops, he's fighting near apartments, he's fighting near civilians, he's fighting inside a village that can't even survive the collateral damage from the battle that is coming. Against an enemy strong enough, he immediately had to use the karma seal. Even though Mamushi is actively trying not to destroy the village, as we saw in the chapter, things happen, mistakes take place. This is basically like dropping a tailed beast bomb inside of a shopping mall. Boruto's trying to stop something like that from going off. It forces Boruto into an absurd handicap, and also it forces Boruto to show a lot of skill when it comes to his jutsu. We're about to see chakra control on an insane level because he has to contain the area of effect damage. against a monster, using karma, while being chased, while not killing anyone, while teleporting around with people in the way. Think of this like Naruto versus Pain, only it was not when the village was destroyed, but instead it's Naruto versus Pain inside the Hidden Leaf Village. Naruto, in that situation, he's limited to a degree on what he can do. He has to change his entire fighting style. He has to worry about civilians getting caught up in the crosshairs while fighting against a boss level threat. It's absolutely absurd, and I like the insanity of it. And that brings me to the next point, which is that Boruto is also fighting in a village filled with people who, quite frankly, just want the guy dead. Now, that might be the craziest layer to all of this. Omnipotence has basically made Boruto the outsider, and Kawaki's lie has made Boruto be framed as the killer of Naruto Hinata, meaning everywhere he teleports, every street that he runs through, every rooftop that he jumps on, there are going to be shinobi who will attack him on instinct. Not because they're evil, not because they're dumb, but because their memories are telling them that Boruto betrayed the village. This makes his battlefield hostile, chaotic, unpredictable, filled with allies turned enemies. And all of them are people that Boruto does not want to hurt. And Shikamaru laid out that possibility in the chapter. There are gonna be people who try to get into Boruto's way. They have to basically clear and support Boruto without giving themselves away. Let's say Boruto's mid-teleport trying to get behind a Mamushi clone in another area, and then you have two random Konoha shinobi just jump in the way. Boruto needs time to concentrate to lock onto location. This changes a lot. This is a huge mental load that Boruto has to carry. It might even be people that used to be friendly smiles in the past who get in his way. Boruto is in brand new territory. Naruto had villagers who hate him, but not while he was also trying to fight god tier threats in the middle of the village. Boruto's trying to save people who want his head mounted on a wall. That's absolutely brutal, and it's also absolutely heartbreaking. But as Naruto's son, you rightfully expect him to endure it. Also, this brings me to the next point, the most important point, which there's going to be a lot of most important points. But Boruto has had to use karma for the first time in 3 years. So I think we all can agree, the karma seal, it ain't a toy. It's not necessarily a chakra cloak, though we did see Boruto did have an aura in the manga version. And it's also not just a resolve power up. It's Otsutsuki DNA, it's parasitic evolution. It is a basically karmic transformation that is layered over Boruto's own biology. Boruto has been unable to use it for various reasons since the time skip. When he tried to use it during the code fight, he felt Momoshiki taking over and it freaked him out. Now he seemingly made amends with Momoshiki and he's using it. Gone are the days where he had to suppress the karma seal. Gone are the days where he was scared to use it. Gone are the days where Boruto had to train his base up to insanely high levels to avoid having to use karma. Now you take a Boruto who, for as powerful as he is in his base, he's about to get a lot stronger. He's basically got the nuclear option that he's allowed to use. And in this chapter, we see that he was forced to use it immediately under stress inside a village that is filled with enemies, both unintentional as well as intentional, while using a brand new ninja tech sword in the process. That's like being told, hey, you haven't driven a car in 3 years. Now, I want you to get inside of this Ferrari and go 200 miles per hour. Also, there's people shooting at you and you cannot hit any of the people that are inside of the streets walking around. So work your magic. Don't get any blood on the wheels. The karma seal, it enhances him, yes, but it also has burden. And we know Boruto does not like using the karma seal. So this is another layer that makes Boruto's fight with Mamushi something I find very interesting. And that now brings me to Boruto's new ninja tech sword. And it's also a variable you have to consider. So Sumire updated Boruto's sword using knowledge from the future events that Kashin Koji witnessed. Information that Boruto himself never lived through, but Sumire took that information and made him a brand new sword as a result. Boruto's just now using a sword that he's just received that has new properties to it by Sumire's own words. It is continuously taking chakra from him. This is his first time fighting while using that blade. The fact that it is consciously taking chakra from him anytime he tilts that sword hilt, it means that if he gets too comfortable, he might misjudge his chakra potentially. He's fighting against an enemy that killed his sister in an alternate timeline. He is learning to control this weapon mid-combat, even though there are similarities to what he did before, while protecting civilians and trying not to get murdered himself, or in this case, consumed. Meanwhile, Mamushi, he's just built for killing. Boruto, he's basically speed running a tutorial through what is basically a raid against a boss level character on a video game floor. And that also brings me to the flying Raijin, because the limitations of Boruto's flying Raijin jutsu also make this fight even harder. So we gotta clear up a misconception. Boruto's not Minato, not yet. He can't teleport across the battlefield instantaneously. He can't mark enemies and jump between marks effortlessly with multiple identifying marks that are similar. He can't activate the jutsu on a target just by focusing, because Minato could teleport anybody that was connected to his chakra, including enemies. He can't spam long distance teleportation without prep time and without concentration. He needs focus, he needs visualization. He has to think about the unique marker that he is going to. He also has to think about chakra management. There can't be any interruptions. But remember, he's in a village full of people that want him dead. There is shinobi coming. The villagers have gone to the police station to get people to go after Boruto, which means Boruto's about to have Anbu on his ass. Every time Boruto needs to focus to use flying Raijin, he don't just have to worry about Mamushi attacking midway through. A shinobi could jump in, a kunai could fly, a civilian could run across his field of vision screaming. His anchor point might be compromised. And this means he can't fully use flying Raijin to his full potential. Though I do think we'll see him using it in his fight, he's gonna need time to concentrate. This is where seeing Boruto's limitations, it's going to be very fun to read. And that also brings me to another point, which is that Boruto can't use shadow clones. So this is huge. I know people are like, well, if there are Mamushi clones, why don't Boruto just use shadow clones? You saw Naruto do it. Yes. And it's important to remember shadow clones split chakra evenly. That is why when you look at a lot of Naruto's fights in Naruto Part 1, and he makes all those clones, when he makes a massive number of them, think about how many times you've seen someone just land one hit on one of the clones and then they go poof. It wasn't until Naruto got absurdly strong that we saw him fighting multiple Kage level shinobi, taking multiple hits with his shadow clones, and they remained durable enough to stay there. That is because Naruto had that much chakra at the time. Right now, Boruto, he's having to use the Koma Seal, use the flying Raijin, use a brand new sword, keep up with all the intel that he's getting, try to maintain collateral damage, fighting potentially indoors if he's in a building, fighting outdoors, trying to protect people. He can't necessarily afford to split his chakra evenly amongst clones, not against Mamushi, who can make clones and those clones are at full power. It's also worth noting, because Boruto has to concentrate when using the flying Raijin, that's going to put a huge hamper on shadow clones, because as we're told in Naruto's manga, and as we are shown in Naruto's manga, when you have instances where you have extreme concentration and focus that are needed, it does directly limit the number of shadow clones you can make. We see this in the Pain arc, and we see this in the War arc with the Edo Tensei Hokage. We are told this in Naruto's manga more than once. That is why Boruto needing to concentrate heavily to use flying Raijin, that's a big deal. Now, this also brings me to another point, which is that Boruto is carrying the weight of the timeline that he accidentally caused. So I think that this does get overlooked. Boruto isn't just trying to win. He's trying to undo a future that he accidentally caused. By telling Kawaki exactly when to remove his limiters earlier than possible, he accelerated a chain of events that created this alternate timeline where Himawari died, Ada died, Mamushi succeeded, and this fight isn't just physical. It's emotional, it's moral, it is guilt-driven. Boruto is carrying that weight on top of everything else. He caused this timeline change. He's having to fight it and fix it. This is the kind of emotional and mental pressure that could break a lesser man's concentration, even during the most basic of moments, unless you're able to compartmentalize. When you gotta fight against a demon of obsession with Mamushi, your mind has to compartmentalize a lot. And that also brings me to why Boruto's also living out Itachi's lesson. So during the 4th Great Ninja War, Itachi told Naruto something critical. You can't shoulder everything alone. If you try to do everything yourself, you'll fail. If you try to just use your overwhelming power alone, you're no different than someone like Madara. Boruto is learning this lesson right now. Much like Naruto, Boruto instinctually tries to protect everyone by himself. But Boruto's situation is drastically worse because he can't trust the people in Konoha right now. They want to kill him. They don't trust him. They may actively try to stop him. He can't risk creating collateral damage. He needs precision, not raw power. This fight is forcing Boruto to confront the reality that he can't be everywhere at once. He can't protect everyone at all times. He's got to rely on others. And ironically, Shikamaru, being the wise Hokage that he is, he came up with the plan with Kashin Koji exactly around that reality. Even if Boruto doesn't want to admit it, this fight is showing him Itachi was right, even though Boruto's never met Itachi. The more Boruto tries to spread himself thin, protecting citizens, fighting Mamushi, avoid killing Leaf Shinobi, fighting while using the Koma Seal, using long-distance flying Raijin, using this brand new sword, avoiding any damage to the buildings in Konoha, trying to fix a timeline disaster that he caused. All of this is a turning point because there are people inside the village that are on this team that will be supporting him. This is how Boruto fixes the future that he created, by relying on others. And this also brings me to why the stakes couldn't be any higher right now. The reason why these stakes are high is because of one word: burdens. Physical burdens. He's using Koma for the first time in years. He's using a brand new sword that was just given to him. He's fighting a monster strong enough to kill Himawari in alternate timelines. He's containing collateral damage. He has strategic burdens, teleporting with flying Raijin while under heavy interruption. No chance to prep the battlefield. No clones being used. No room for full power attacks. Emotional and environmental burdens as well. The environmental burdens are the village is filled with citizens. Buildings are everywhere. There's limited open space. Teleporting anchors constantly can get compromised. Then you have emotional burdens. Guilt from the timeline he caused. Protecting people who want him to be dead. Knowing that Himawari died in another future. That Ada died in another future. Giving him all the more reason why he cannot fail. And there's also that potential fear of failure. This fight is not balanced, not even slightly. This is Boruto fighting a war on, I would argue, 6 fronts simultaneously, and he's only one person. That is why, when you go back to Sarada's words in chapter 16, she said that Boruto needed people to carry the burden with him, and that brings me to why this matters for Boruto's future. This battle isn't just a fight, it's a narrative crescendo. It is a place where Boruto's being faced into accepting limitations, relying on others in this war against the Shinju. Learn that power alone does not determine victory. Trust in strategies bigger than him, even when they come from someone like Kashin Koji, someone that Boruto has a rocky relationship with. And trying to stop bearing the burden all at once, just like how Sarada was saying in chapter 16. It's just like Itachi warned another Uchiha. Those who forgive themselves, who acknowledge their true nature, they are the ones who become strong. I'm paraphrasing what Itachi said, but that's basically the gist of it. Boruto is being stretched to the edge so he can realize he can't do everything alone. He isn't meant to do everything alone. Even if he is a singularity of fate, he has to rely on more than just Kawaki. And that realization, I feel, might be a key to defeating Mamushi. But not before Boruto comes dangerously close to being stretched too thin in this battle. This is why I do have to ask you guys as the audience, do you think Boruto's biting off more than he can chew, or is this the moment where he grows into the shinobi who is worthy of being Sasuke's student? Let me know down in the comment section below. In the meantime, click here to check out that Boruto chapter review, or click here to check out videos from my other 2 anime channels where I talk about non-Naruto content.